Hey, what's up guys? Look who I'm hanging out with. One of the things that Zach King does so well is he uses camera movement to really help sell his effects, both fake camera movement and camera movement techniques. One of the things I want to talk about in this video is how you can use these different camera movement techniques to help sell the effects. Now for the most part, these techniques aren't that hard to create, and a lot of them can be done right in Premiere, aside from one of them. So let's hop into these editing programs and I'll show you how it can be as easy as a snap. Whoa, I don't feel so good. Don't worry everyone, I'm feeling better now. And the first thing that I want to talk about is this movement transition at the very beginning. Now this transition is done with 3 different shots. The first is that first clip of you looking at the camera and then turning the camera around. The second shot, you're going to steady the tripod and you're going to pan the camera until it hits the intended position. Then for the third shot, you're going to keep the tripod steady, you're going to hold your position for a couple seconds, and then you're going to start your scene. Now the first cut you're going to make between the first and second shots are going to be right in the middle of that camera blur in the middle of the motion. If you cut it right in the middle of the motion blur, you're not even going to see the cut. Now what you're going to do for the second shot is you're going to drag that portion of you holding still and you're going to mask around your body. You're then going to up the feather and animate it from high to low, while you also put a directional blur and you're going to animate that from a high blur to no blur at all. You're then going to animate the position of the clip from right to left so that it looks like it's following along with the movement from the clip that you have right below it, which is that tripod panning shot. Because of the movement in the shot, it's going to mask out any irregularities and it's going to look like a pretty clean shot. The next technique I want to talk about is tripod movement. And essentially, all you're doing with this one is recording as you're moving the tripod from one location to another, being sure to be as quick as possible as you're moving the tripod. As long as you make the cut to the clip right before and right after the movement, it's going to make it look like it's one continuous shot. And one thing that's really going to help sell this kind of technique is adding camera movement to the entirety of the scene. And that's why I want to talk about fake camera movement as part of our next technique. Now most of the tutorials that I see about fake camera movement say, film a marker on a wall handheld and then motion track it either in After Effects or do it manually in Premiere. But there is a much easier way to do this in Premiere Pro. So what I like to do is I like to measure out the amount of time that I actually need the camera movement to last, and I'll shoot a handheld shot of just about anything for that length of time. I make sure to do a little bit of an exaggerated camera movement with this kind of shot. Then I simply go to Effects and I go to Warp Stabilizer and I apply a Warp Stabilizer to the clip. Now what Warp Stabilizer does is it works to smooth out your footage. But how it does that is it actually analyzes the footage, scales it up a little bit, and moves it around so that it makes it look like you either have no movement or you have smoother movement. Now when that's done analyzing, you can simply copy over that effect and you can nest together the sequence that you made earlier and you can paste that effect right onto your sequence. You're now going to take the movement that was created from the earlier shot and it's going to be applied here. But since we didn't have the same movement as the shot earlier, it's going to make a completely new kind of shaking effect and it's going to make it look like you've got fake handheld movement. What's even better about this is you can change some of the settings to give you a different kind of look. You can change the smoothness from a low number to a high number and you're going to get more shaking and a little bit more of a bumped up scale. You can change how the footage is moved from position to position, scale, and rotation, though I'd stay away from perspective and warp. And once you find something that you really like, all you have to do is right-click on that effect, go to Save Preset, name it Fake Camera Movement, and now you've got a preset that you could use for any future footage that you want to have fake handheld on. And that is how selling the effect with camera movement is as easy as a snap. Whoa, I don't feel so good. Alright, so there is one other technique that I didn't get to cover, and that's called camera mapping. It's something that I've seen Zach King and other VFX artists use, but it's a little bit more technical and it's done in After Effects and other more advanced editing programs, so I figured I'll cover it in another video, but if you want to check it out, just look up camera mapping. I'm sure you'll find some other tutorials. Now I've got a Patreon, so if you want to support my channel or if you want to get the project files for all these tutorials, sign up in the link in the description. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. All right, peace.